Recruits laughed at the old instructor until he outran them all at age 75. Fort Benning, Georgia. Summer. OFI 30 hours. The air is thick before the sun even rises. Humidity that sits on your skin like a second shirt. The kind of heat that makes you sweat standing still. Cicadas droning in the pines beyond the barracks. The smell of cut grass and diesel and coffee from the mess hall drifting across the compound. On the PT field, 73 recruits stand in formation, fresh, young, some barely 19. They wear identical gray PT uniforms, new boots, and the particular brand of nervous energy that comes from not yet knowing what you don't know. Basic training. Week 2, they're still civilians in uniform, still figuring out left from right, still learning that hurry up and wait isn't a joke, it's a philosophy. The drill sergeant paces in front of them. Sergeant First Class Morrison, 38, built like a fire hydrant, voice like gravel in a blender. This morning, he shouts, you will be completing a baseline fitness assessment, 3-mile run, you will stay in formation, you will maintain pace, you will not fall out unless you are dying, and even then, I want a doctor's note. A few nervous laughs. Morrison doesn't smile. You will also be joined by a guest instructor. He'll be running with you, setting the pace. You will keep up. Is that clear? Yes, Sergeant, they shout back. Morrison nods toward the edge of the field. A figure walks out from the tree line, slow, deliberate. An old man in a matching gray PT uniform, thin, maybe 5'9". Gray hair buzzed close to the scalp, weathered face, lined like a map of hard miles. He moves carefully, like someone whose joints have earned their complaints. He stops beside Morrison, hands on his hips, looking out at the formation with pale blue eyes that haven't softened with age. The recruits stare. Someone in the back rank mutters, "You've got to be kidding me." Another whispers, "Is he even allowed to run?" A ripple of smirks, stifled laughter. The kind of reaction youth has when it forgets that age is just time's receipt for work already done. Morrison's head snaps toward the sound. "Something funny, recruits?" Silence. "I didn't think so." He turns, gestures to the old man. "This is Sergeant Major William Cross, United States Army, retired. He is 75 years old. He has more time in chow lines than you have on this earth. And this morning, he is going to run 3 miles with you." Pause. "And if any of you fall behind him, you'll be doing it again, with rucksacks." A few recruits exchange glances, nervous now, but still skeptical. Sergeant Major Cross steps forward. His voice is quiet, rough, but it carries. "I'm not here to embarrass you," he says. "I'm here to show you something." He looks at them, not unkindly, but not softly either. "Most of you think fitness is about being young, about being fast, about having something to prove." He pauses. "It's not. It's about showing up. Every day. Long after the motivation is gone. Long after your body starts reminding you that you're not 20 anymore. You show up anyway." He rolls his shoulders, adjusts his cap. "So, let's see what you've got." Morrison blows the whistle. "Fall in! Double column! Move!" The recruits scramble into formation. Cross walks to the front, stands beside Morrison. He doesn't stretch, doesn't warm up, just waits. Morrison raises his hand. "On my mark, go." They move. The first quarter mile is easy. The recruits settle into rhythm, boots hitting pavement in uneven cadence, breath still steady, confidence still high. Sergeant Major Cross runs at the front of the pack, setting the pace. His stride is short, efficient, not fast, but not slow either, steady. One recruit, a kid named Daniels, 19, track star in high school, pulls up beside his buddy. "This is gonna be a joke," he mutters, barely winded. His buddy grins. "Dude's like 100. 75. Same thing." They glance ahead at Cross. He's running with his head up, arms swinging in controlled arcs, breathing through his nose. No wasted movement, no visible effort. But he's old. They can see it. The lines in his face, the gray hair, the way his knees don't lift quite as high as theirs. Daniels smirks. "Give it another mile, he'll drop." Behind them, Morrison jogs alongside the formation, watching, saying nothing, just watching. Half a mile in, the pace stays the same. Cross doesn't speed up, doesn't slow down, just maintains. Metronome steady. The recruits are still comfortable, still talking, still confident. But then the humidity starts to work on them. The sun breaks over the tree line, the temperature climbs, sweat starts to bead, then pour. Shirts darken, breathing gets heavier, cross doesn't change. At the 1 mile mark, a few recruits start to drift. Not far, just a step. Then 2. Their breathing gets louder, choppier. They're not struggling yet, but they're working now. Cross keeps the same pace. Daniels notices. He frowns, checks his watch. They're running an 8-minute mile, not blazing, but not slow either. Solid, sustainable. For a 19-year-old, it's comfortable. For a 75-year-old, Daniels doesn't understand. 1.5 miles. The pack starts to stretch. Some recruits pull ahead, trying to prove something. Others fall back, breathing hard now, faces red. The formation breaks apart, becomes a line, then a scatter. Cross doesn't chase the fast ones, doesn't wait for the slow ones. He just runs. Morrison shouts from the side, "Stay with the pace, people. If you're in front of Sergeant Major Cross, you'd better stay there." A few recruits glance back. Cross is still there, still moving, still steady. Not fast, but relentless. 2 miles. The heat is crushing now. Recruits are gasping, stumbling. A few fall out to the side, hands on knees, dry heaving. Morrison yells at them, but doesn't stop the run. Cross passes them without a word. His face is flushed. His shirt is soaked. But his pace hasn't changed. 8-minute miles. Every single one. Daniels is still near the front, but he's hurting now. His lungs burn. His legs feel heavy. He keeps glancing back, expecting to see Cross lagging, fading. But Cross is still there, still running. 2.5 miles. The pace breaks half the pack. Recruits are scattered across a 1/4 mile of road now. Some walking, some jogging in ragged bursts. Some still trying to keep up, but barely. And then, quietly, steadily, Sergeant Major Cross starts to move through them. Not sprinting, not surging, just maintaining. While they slow, he doesn't. He passes 1 recruit, then another, then 5 more. His face is a mask of controlled effort, his jaw set, his eyes forward. He doesn't look at them, doesn't acknowledge them, he just runs. Daniels sees him coming, feels a spike of panic. He tries to pick up the pace. His body screams at him. His lungs can't pull enough air. His legs are concrete. Cross pulls even with him. For 3 strides, they run side by side. Then Cross moves past. Daniels tries to stay with him. Can't. Falls back. He watches the old man pull away. Final 1/2 mile. Cross is in the front third of the pack now, moving past recruits half a century younger. His pace never wavers. His form stays controlled. He doesn't look tired. He looks focused. Like he's done this before. Like he's done this 1,000 times. Morrison is jogging beside the stragglers now, yelling encouragement and insults in equal measure. But his eyes keep drifting forward, watching Cross. A small smile touches the corner of his mouth. The finish line comes into view. Cross crosses it in 24 minutes, 18 seconds. 8th out of 73 recruits. He slows to a walk, hands on his hips. Breathing hard now. Deep, controlled breaths. Sweat dripping from his jaw. He walks in a small circle, letting his heart rate come down. Behind him, recruits stagger across the line. Some collapse, some vomit. Some just stand there, hands on their heads, staring at nothing. Daniels finishes 32nd. He bends over, gasping, shaking. He looks up at Cross. The old man is still walking, still breathing, still upright. Daniels can't process it. Morrison blows the whistle. Formation, now! They drag themselves into something resembling a formation. Sloppy, broken, humbled. Cross stands off to the side, sipping water from a canteen, watching them. Morrison walks to the front. How many of you thought this would be easy? A few hands drift up, then more. How many of you thought you'd smoke the old man? Uncomfortable silence. Morrison nods. That's what I thought. He gestures to Cross. Sergeant Major Cross ran 8-minute miles for 3 miles straight, at 75 years old. Some of you couldn't keep that pace for 1 mile. Some of you are currently trying not to pass out. He lets that sink in. You want to know why? He waits. Because he knows something you don't. They sit in the shade of a covered pavilion, 73 recruits, cross-legged on the concrete, still catching their breath. still processing. Sergeant Major Cross sits on a bench, elbows on his knees, hands folded. His face is calm now. The flush has faded, but the lines around his eyes seem deeper in the shade. Morrison stands beside him. "Sergeant Major, would you mind telling these recruits what you told me when we met?" Cross looks up, nods slowly, stands. He walks to the front, turns, looks at them. "I started running when I was 17, he says. "Not because I wanted to, because I had to. Basic training, 1967. If you couldn't run, you didn't make it. Simple as that." He pauses. "I wasn't fast, I wasn't strong, but I could keep going, so that's what I did." He shifts his weight, grimaces slightly. "Old knees. I deployed to Vietnam in '68, infantry. We did a lot of walking, a lot of running. You ran to cover, you ran to extract. You ran because if you didn't, you died." His voice is matter of fact. No drama, just truth. "I ran through jungles, through rice paddies, through fire, and every time, I told myself the same thing. Just keep moving, one foot, then the other. Don't stop." He looks at the recruits. "I came home in '70. A lot of guys didn't. And when I got back, I didn't know what to do with myself. Couldn't sleep, couldn't sit still. So I ran." He sits back down on the bench. "Every morning, 5 miles, then 6, then 8. I ran until I couldn't think anymore, until the noise in my head got quiet." One of the recruits raises a hand. A young woman, Private Chen. "Sergeant Major, did it work?" Cross looks at her for a long moment. "Sometimes," he says. "Not always." He exhales. "I got married, had kids, stayed in the Army, made Sergeant Major, retired in '92. And through all of it, I kept running, not because I loved it, but because I needed it." He leans forward. "When my wife got sick, cancer, 2003, I ran. When she died, I ran. When my son deployed to Iraq and I couldn't sleep until he called, I ran. When my daughter got divorced and moved back home with 2 kids and no job, I ran." His voice is steady, but quieter now. "Running became the thing I could control when everything else was falling apart. I couldn't fix the world, couldn't bring people back, couldn't make the pain go away. But I could lace up my shoes and go." He looks around the group. "You're young. You think you're invincible. You think fitness is about speed, about beating the other guy, about being the best." He shakes his head. "It's not. Fitness is about still being able to move when your body tells you to quit. It's about showing up on the days you don't want to. It's about proving to yourself that you're stronger than the voice that says you can't." He stands again. Slowly. "I'm 75 years old. My knees hurt. My back hurts. I've had 2 hip surgeries. I take medication for blood pressure. I'm not special. I'm not superhuman." He taps his chest. "I'm just stubborn, and I know that the day I stop moving is the day I start dying." Silence. Daniels speaks up, voice quieter now. "Sergeant Major, how do you keep going? After everything?" Cross looks at him. "You remember why you started." He picks up his water bottle. "I started because I had to. I kept going because the people I lost deserved better than me giving up. And now I keep going because I can, and every mile I run is a mile they didn't get." He puts his cap back on. "So I run for them, and for me, and for anyone who thinks age is an excuse." He walks toward the edge of the pavilion, stops, looks back. "You've got 60 years ahead of you, maybe more. Don't waste them thinking you'll always be this young. You won't. But if you build the habit now, if you show up every day, even when it's hard, you'll be the 75-year-old who can still run 3 miles. He nods once. "And trust me, that's worth something." That afternoon, the recruits are quieter than usual. In the barracks, they sit on their bunks, cleaning boots, writing letters, thinking. Daniels lies on his back, staring at the ceiling. His bunkmate looks over. "You good?" Daniels doesn't answer right away, then, "I couldn't keep up with a 75-year-old man." "None of us could." "Yeah, but..." Daniels sits up. "He wasn't even trying to beat us. He was just running." "That's what made it worse." Daniels nods. Later that week, Morrison gathers the platoon for another PT session. They expect another run, another test, another chance to prove themselves. Instead, Morrison tells them to sit. "Sergeant Major Cross left this morning," he says. "Went back to his home in Tennessee. But before he left, he asked me to give you something. He holds up a piece of paper. This is his training log from 1968 to today, 57 years of running. Every single day logged, distance, time, weather, how he felt. He sets it on a table. He said you can look at it if you want. But he said the most important thing isn't how far he ran. It's that he showed up. He looks at them. You're going to have hard days. Days where your body hurts. Days where you don't want to be here. Days where you think about quitting. He taps the log. On those days, remember the old man who outran you and show up anyway. 6 months later, Private Daniels graduates basic training. He's not the fastest in his class, not the strongest, but he never falls out of a run. He keeps a small notebook in his locker. Every morning after PT, he writes the date, the distance, and how he felt. It's not much, but it's something. And 50 years from now, maybe he'll still be running. Maybe he'll show up at a base somewhere, and a group of young recruits will look at him and laugh. And maybe he'll smile, because he'll know what they don't, that the race isn't about beating anyone else. It's about not letting time beat you. 1 year after that run, Sergeant Major Cross receives a letter. It's from Private Daniels, now Private First Class Daniels. The letter is short. Sergeant Major, I'm still running, every day, even when I don't want to. Thank you for showing me why. Cross folds the letter carefully, puts it in a box with others like it. Then he laces up his shoes, and he runs. The body remembers what the mind forgets, that showing up is half the battle, and the other half is not stopping. End.